Hi, and welcome to this episode of Zeitgeist Podcast with Niklas and Flo. Hi, I'm Niklas.
Hi, I'm Flo.
Today, we're going to talk about a topic, Flo, you brought up. It's called Consume Without Compass. And this is a pretty provocative title. What is it about?
It's basically the idea of consuming and having no end to it. Basically, everything is available always. We can shop 24/7. Stuff is cheap thanks to Temu, Shine, Amazon. And I see it myself. We're shopping like with no ending. There's always boxes coming in with small products, like even like small things like some decoration here, some soap there. But it's kind of crazy that you're, besides the regular grocery shopping once a week, you're always getting something in. And I believe, most people see this. And the big question is, are we satisfied at some point? Or is there always something you want to get new? Usually I remember like back in the days, you were like saving money, buying one pair of sneakers, something like this, and then you were happy for the next couple of months. Now you're buying a white pair of sneakers, and then on the next day you're already thinking, does it make sense to have the same one in black? And then you look it up on Google, you see it somewhere cheap, Amazon, somewhere else, and then you order it.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? I also remember those days where you basically Amazon didn't exist, at least not to that extent. I even remember the time when it didn't exist at all, but that's very long ago. If you look at it, is it really only Amazon or is it more like Instagram, TikTok? Where does the drive come from? What's the influence of social media on exactly this consumption behavior?
I think that like influencers and social media definitely plays a big role in this. I mean, you see the nice stuff 24/7. Obviously, the algorithm of all the social media works pretty similar. You like a candle, and then you see a lot of videos about candles, how candles being created, where to buy candles, what kind of different shapes are there, what kind of different smells, and so on and so on. So it triggers you so long until you're giving up and you just buy.
That kind of sounds how I would buy as well, and that's a bit like you're I would say in the advertising business, at least in parts, right? You do pre-targeting, and how much does that actually influence consumption? Do you ever click on an ad on a website and then really buy these things you see there? How much is this driven
I mean,
by
this
the
is like something what works definitely. But at the end, like new product at least and new brands, they need a lot of different touch points to get the trust of a brand. You know, if I tell you now, there's shop xyy.com. They have super good service. They're super quick and cheap or whatever. You would believe it because I would be like in this case some kind of micro influencer to you. Since we're friends, your trust in my opinion, and you would just buy it. The issue is when you see a brand the first time, you need a couple of different touch points, reasons why it really makes sense to buy there because you don't want to get scammed. And so, and for that, it's important that, a lot of different channels are playing hand in hand to make sure that, especially new customers, buying something. And then if you have a good experience, you're always coming back. I mean, there are definitely products out there you wouldn't even consider looking it up somewhere else than Amazon because you know exactly the service is as you expect. It comes the other day. Usually people have Prime, so you don't have to pay for the shipment. And even if you don't like this product, you can return it pretty easily.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you mentioned something in between. keeping up with the trend, right? So you see it on social media or something. How trend driven are you when you buy, basically?
I mean, for me personally, there are just a couple of different brands I'm really trusting. So, I mean, I like to buy fashion, but if I see an ad now for, let's say, a sport brand, I wouldn't usually consider to buy something from, just because they have a new ad or a brand ambassador, might be like the biggest influencer in sports or whatever. Me personally, I wouldn't buy something there. But I guess this is still like the driver for a lot of people. They just need to see, I don't know, LeBron wearing a t-shirt, and then like best case scenario with like a wording which appeals to your lifestyle, and then you're like almost done to buy it.
I don't know. I was just thinking about it, and I have actually a few of these products which I think were driven by influencer marketing, at least. If I take my Yeezys, for example, I have a number of those, like these 350s, the old ones. Really like them. They are very comfortable shoes to me, but I would probably have never bought them without the hype, without the raffles and all these things. I would probably not going in. And if you look at it, I'm not sure how big is Supreme still. I think that was like the biggest thing for quite a while in streetwear, right?
I'm not really into streetwear, but I imagine that they are still out there and people are still buying this stuff. I mean, the interesting thing is about especially Yeezys or Supreme, that not just influencers wore this stuff, it's also the demand was always way higher than the supply. I mean, you had to go into like virtual queues to buy your stuff, or standing in line in front of all these different shops to get a chance to buy the pair of sneakers in your size. And then you also have like the resellers who also, worked against basically the common shopper, while they were buying like 5, 6, 7 pairs at once and sold it for way more than what they cost them initially.
Yeah,
A
interesting. And
lot
when
of
you look at
different things played into this.
now basically going back to another side again, like the endless stream of very cheap stuff, and you talked about it before. How often do you order things that you don't really need that much, that are just very cheap, like for example candles or something that you don't really use then or even dispose of later? Does it happen?
No, me personally, I'm not really buying stuff just because the price is right. Um, but maybe I'm just different. I try to figure out what product I like, and then I try to figure out if I can get the best price for it.
Right. So it's still
So I
not
would
the
probably, I would
impulsive
probably,
buying.
in my mind, I want, let's say, I don't know, like a yellow shirt. I would try to find this yellow shirt I really like, and then I would look up if I can see the right price for this specific product. It's not like, I just want a yellow shirt and then I'm looking for the prices, and then I go up and see if there's like just one yellow shirt with the right price, and then I figure out if that is like the one I really feel comfortable with.
I mean, that still sounds a lot like consumption with a compass. And if I look at my next question that I wanted to ask, it's a bit, what would buying with a purpose look like for you? So the opposite of buying without a compass.
Um, I don't know. What does it look like for you? I mean,
It's a really good question. I mean, yeah, but
I mean,
it's closer to
usually,
what you say, like,
I
yeah,
guess you usually put some assumption in your head. You need this product for, I mean, that's the funny thing, right? People, when they go on vacation, they usually go first into the mall and buy all the stuff they need for their vacation, even though that they will not see one single person who ever saw like the old clothes. So if let's say I want to have beach vacation. I would go to, I don't know, a nice beach. I would probably buy like 2 shorts, 2 t-shirts, one swim shorts, right? To impress people who've never seen me or the stuff I was wearing like the week before I went to the mall. So I bring all this new stuff which I bought just for the vacation to impress people I don't know. And then at the vacation, usually you also go shopping, right? You always try to find this little extra space in your suitcase where you can, put this one shirt, 2 shirt, 3 shirts, which gives you like the memories from this vacation.
Yeah, I mean, the last one I would definitely call shopping with purpose. If I'm on a vacation, I would something to bring it home, be it a T-shirt with some nice logo from the place I was at or something like that. Um, Actually, I would, and that's very interesting that you say it. I wouldn't. I would obviously shop like sunscreen or something for vacation, but I wouldn't shop or rarely shop clothes like that I already have enough of. I would think that I can always shop for our surfboards, for example, but I think I also collect them, so surfboard more or less doesn't really matter in my personal collection. But outside of that, yeah, but there are sometimes these things like, and you asked it, I would, for example, buy like some beach games or something like that I don't really need that much, where I just think it could be fun to have them, And then the question is if I really use them more than once, or I realize
Yeah.
that it's not really what I wanted. That's maybe the point where you could go more into shopping with purpose. And for me, also, as you asked it to me, yeah, a bit more selective on things that you actually use for a longer amount of time would be shopping with purpose, kind of, to me.
Yeah. I mean, just from my experience, I haven't planned any cruise for the next few months, but I'm sure that I will go on a cruise at some point. And I just bought like 2 weeks ago a shirt for the cruise, which I didn't book yet.
That sounds like fun. And maybe to end it, sometimes shopping can be fun. Thanks for this episode about consumption without or with a compass. And please like and subscribe if you haven't yet.